to start this a little differently. So, timing. Oh, of course, I can't get in straight. There we go. I'm not obviously going that fast. Alright, Slingshot, ready to rock and roll. There you go. So, what I've done here is try to just complete a concept I've had in my head for a very, very long time. In fact, I wanted to not necessarily carry a slingshot dedicated. I kind of like to play with them every once in a while. But I wanted a way to integrate it into an EDC in a way that is maybe a little different. So this is what I've come up with. Using a pair of lanyard clips. Now, actually, I just realized black on this color is not the best. But using a pair of Leatherman Lanyard clips, I was able to make some very nice attachments for a pair of, a slingshot set. And this will work on the Leatherman Wave and the Leatherman Surge. The way I did this is, in addition to the clips, I found pretty much the perfect item. I wasn't sure I was going to find anything that worked. This is a, make sure we could see this. This is a micro fuel line. It's a 1/4 inch outer diameter and a 7/64 inch inner diameter. So it's quite, let's see if I can get this. Yeah. It's quite thick, but it's still very small. So it's very rigid, but still flexible enough to work with. What I had to do is I cut along the tube a short section of it. I think it was about 3 centimeters, give or take. And then I had to carefully fold it over top such that the cut was on the outside. So I had to basically roll it in. That was quite hard to do without a pair of pliers. And in this case, I actually got a chance to use my Surge today and pull this piece of plastic in. And then you'll notice there's this white kind of film on top of it. What this is now there's more than one way to do this, but what I used to do it was called Braun tape. It's BRAEON. And this is kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like an epoxy tape. Very, very strong. It kind of solidifies like a cast, but unlike using an activator similar to epoxy where it cures and that's it, this is activated with heat, working slightly under boiling temperature. So I can use hot water and form it, and it makes a very hard cast around this. It's also quite smooth, so none of those edges that developed from the cut into the plastic are exposed that could damage the bands. That's what happened with the idea I had with using what was it called, Velcro wire ties. Now they were plenty strong enough to hold the stretch. But the problem is that even when I was using the fabric-y side, the loop side, if you will, I still got frays in the rubber fairly easily. So I had to think of a different way to attach it to the lanyard clips. And this is what I came up with. Now there's probably more than one way to do this, but I really like the lanyard clips because, as you saw in the beginning, it's very, very fast. That's it. And then there's a slightly better way to get these in to make sure that the bands are lined up. In this case, they are. You can kind of see it. And this is purposeful. I wanted to create a slot to look through to kind of create a sight picture, which is why the bands are oriented this way. I'm not a great shot with a slingshot, so it's a great way to teach myself to sight in this specific spot every time. Now, you also notice that there's a slight difference in length. If I'm pulling back, this is going to be a slightly shorter draw than this one. But so far, in my testing, hasn't mattered at all because there's not a very big distance. And just by turning your hands slightly, you pretty much account for it anyway. So that's quite easy to do. I will say getting this on was a pain in the butt, but definitely doable. And once you have it, you have these very nice clips, and they're not going anywhere. So then I could just wrap this up, keep it together in my pocket, and whenever I want to, just clip it in, clip it in. Make sure it's clipped in right. This one's not. There we go. And we're good to go. Bam. Now, last thing. You can see the width isn't all that big, and if you're feeling uncomfortable, there is a way to adjust this. Just as opening the pliers also opens the handles, if you were to put something in here, like we're going to use my finger, you'll actually keep it open wider. So I have an idea about using a wrist brace that'll actually involve a piece of plastic or something like that that might open, say, the wave a little bit wider, so you could have maybe bands this far apart, and also still have that wrist support. So that's kind of the next step. But honestly, this is pretty sweet. It looks a little silly on these little donuts, but they cause no friction, or very little friction, on these bands, which is exactly what I was hoping. So I'm pretty happy with that, to say the least. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and maybe this will give you some ideas on how you can incorporate these, other ideas into your EDC, and using something you already carry. In my case, I always carry multi-tool, so this is sort of where my head was at. So I hope you guys appreciated this, and you got something out of it. All right.